there is an absolute whopper coming in May, and Google have actually told us about this update. So what is happening with that? Can you give me a little bit of an overview? I've got Randy, our absolute web guru, here with me today. And Randy, I just wanted to have a chat with you about the upcoming changes to Google. So normally with the Google algorithm, we talk about something called SEO, or search engine optimization. And the algorithm on Google changes honestly all the time. There's constant updates, but there is an absolute whopper coming in May, and Google have actually told us about this update. So what is happening with that? Can you give me a little bit of an overview?
So basically they're just taking it and they're going to be focusing ranking on site speed, honestly. So basically how fast your site loads, whether the code is, up to date, using the correct guidelines and things like that. So yeah, it's honestly all going to be about page speed now. So if you have a website that's loading slow, the best way to initially get a bump up is going to be going through and, skimming down the code and, just increasing or decreasing your load times.
Cool. So let's talk about the impact on our existing clients that we have built websites for. So obviously in the past, it didn't sort of play into it as much. It's always had a little bit of an impact. But if you have an existing website at the moment, to make sure that you're not impacted by this, what kind of things should you be looking at doing to help speed up your site?
Running some Lighthouse reports, which is, you can, like if you're just running on Google Chrome, you can just right click on your website. And then in the top right corner, there's a little thing called Lighthouse, and running a Lighthouse report is going to be the best way to start, because that's what they're using to base, how fast your website is. So from that report, you'll get a bunch of things, so site performance, and then they'll give you a bunch of keys and notes that you can do to increase the load times. So the first thing is going to be, your server. It's going to tell you how fast it takes you to connect to the server your website's hosting on, and the response time between the two. And then from there, they'll go through and they kind of grade it and show you green, for good, and orange and red and stuff. But it'll give you a bunch of pointers and tips that what you can do. But the majority of it is going to be, if you're suffering from these page speed issues, it is going to be kind of compiling the code and getting rid of any kind of bloatware or anything that's on the site, and then trying to just serve the code that's necessary to display your site on, a screen, and not load any unnecessary resources.
Something that I see a lot is that people jump in, especially say it's WordPress, for example, or Shopify. They jump in and they go, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about all these plugins and these apps that I can use. And so they install 5 different apps or plugins to have a play around with them. And they never remove the ones that they don't actually end up using. And that is something that can really slow you down. I have a question though, Randy. If a client has a site that was built years ago and they haven't been maintaining their WordPress updates and things like that, would you recommend now is probably the time to have an upgrade and potentially rebuild the site?
Absolutely. If it's a small site and it doesn't, have a lot of fancy features or actions and everything, it's okay to, just update it. But if you're really wanting to take some initiative and really improve, your search results and your organic ranking and everything, I'd say now is the time to just go in and then start from scratch, because a lot of outdated sites do have, outdated, UI and UX, and it makes it a bit hard for users to find the things they're looking for. And these are all things that Google takes into consideration when, they send the spiders to crawl to sites, how easily, readily available the information is that your website's displaying to users. So yeah, I do recommend it. It would be a good time to start jumping in and, having a bit of doesn't even have to be from the ground up, but even just from a front end point of view, having a rejig and doing things a little bit different and improve the website overall, whether it be, user experience or, your load times and bloatware and just things like that. So.
Excellent. All right. So remember, guys, that update is coming in May. Now is the time to have a look at redoing your website, or potentially even having someone in to scale back the code on an existing site as well. Thanks for your time, Randy.
Thank you.